it seems that some controversy is brewing at FIIRO, where the DG of the organization, I think is the acting DG, is said to be without the requisite qualification. He says that he has a PhD, but that PhD has been called to question. ICPC, that's the Independent Corrupt Practices Commission, was said to have investigated it and confirmed that he did have that qualification. They said they were relying on sister agencies. But the school from where he was said to have gotten the qualification from said that he hasn't quite completed his degree program. However, he is still the head of FIIRO right now, and ICPC said, oh, it looks like ICPC is going back on the initial investigation, but they're right here in the studio to tell us precisely what the status is and why this is now a controversy in the first instance. We have with us in the studio Mrs. Rashidat Okodowa, who's Director of Public Enlightenment at ICPC. You're welcome to Sunrise Daily this morning.
Thank you very much, Malkwe. Good morning, and compliments of the season.
We wish you the same. What a way to start the new year.
Oh, yes.
Well, this controversy did start in 2019, and it seems to have spilled into this year. Looking at the Punch newspapers, which quotes you very generously, they have this headline saying, ICPC backtracks, reopens investigation into FIIRO DG's PhD. What exactly is the story, and why are you backtracking?
Okay, thank you very much. Let me start with the issue of the petition itself.
Yeah.
We received the petition last year at the tail end of January, 30th January 2019, alleging that Dr. Chidinma Igwe had a fake certificate, a fake PhD certificate. That was what the petition alleged, that he had a fake PhD certificate. And we launched into the investigation. From the records we obtained from FIIRO, there was an attestation signed, attestation in French, a document titled attestation, and it was rendered in French, signed by Professor Mudashiru on 3rd July 2002. There was also...
saying what? What was that?
No, that's it also. There was also the the English translation of that French document, you know. But that was titled, in translating the attestation, the second document reads, I have a copy here, it reads certificate. That's what that second document reads.
May I see it?
Yes, please. It's here. You'll see it quickly now. Okay. This is the French version. It says attestation.
Yeah.
This is the second version, the English version, certificate. And if you look at it towards the bottom of that English version, it says something to the effect that this certificate should be given in all circumstances. This certificate should be given due and worthy recognition as a matter of right. The French version was signed by Professor Mudashiru of that institute. We didn't only rely on the documentation we obtained from FIIRO. We also, you know, this is a matter of, this is something that concerns, concerns another country. It's an institution in Benin Republic. It's not within Nigeria. And you cannot suddenly, ICPC couldn't suddenly go to Benin Republic, to that institution, when it is an overt, you know, overt investigation. If it's covert, of course you could do anything covertly, but it's overt, there are certain protocols you have to go through. You have to go through a mission, a foreign mission, to say, help us to find out about the status of this matter. And that's what they did. We asked them to help us find out whether the institution issued, the attestation. And they sent back a response from the Nigeria embassy there. You know, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs forwarded it to us to say that, and now what they forwarded to us was another document, also stated attestation, signed by a different person this time, one Professor Woto. So based on those documentation, we said the man had a certificate. But then, down the line, sometime in November, I believe, we received another, a complaint from an NGO, saying that, titled differently this time, that we should do a probe into the DG's failure to produce his certificate, which is different from he had a fake PhD. So our chairman, Professor Bolaji Owasoye, directed, since that we received it late this November, 28th November to be precise, and immediately he directed that we reopen this investigation, which is what we are required to do. That happens a lot of times in law enforcement, whereby in the face of maybe further complaints or more credible information, you are flexible enough to say, let us reopen this case. So we had already reopened the investigation. In actual fact, it's, that reopening started, I think they started investigating again around 3rd December 2019. That was well before the Punch article. There was a Punch article on the 30th of December. We had already opened another investigation by the 3rd of December, almost a whole month apart. So that shows that we are flexible enough to say, hey, wait a minute, let's take a second look at this matter.
You said you opened the investigation when, sorry?
Oh, 3rd, I mean, reopened it.
Reopened it
but
when?
3rd December. 3rd December 2019.
So what have you found?
Well, we're still ongoing. I cannot disclose on air because it's still a matter for investigation.
I wonder how long it will take to do this investigation.
No.
Because if this is an attestation produced in 2002,
yes,
saying that he has completed his university doctorate degree course. I mean, I'm looking at the French attestation and the English version, even though I'm not certain if attestation and certificate mean exactly the same thing. I don't speak French fluently. However, from the would I say elementary French that I understand, I can say that there are very strong similarities between the interpretation done here and the interpretation in the English certificate document. I can see that you can see also there that the person who translated it was putting their their reputation on the line when they did so. It looks like they did a pretty okay job. Now, when from 2002 you were said to have completed a particular course, and then in 2019 or 17 or 18, you're being asked to produce a certificate for this course, and you're not able to, how long does it really take to certify that this person is either went to this school and has not finished his course, or, you know, never attended the school at all?
That is what our reopening of the case will establish at the end of the day. Because, like I said, we already identified that we needed to do more work on this investigation. You know, we had stopped at the fact that we were going through a mission to get this done. Even in the course of our further investigation, we are still going, we're still liaising with the mission. We are still doing other things. So at the end of it all, we will establish firmly that either he finished or he didn't finish. And if there's any infraction, any wrongdoing that we establish, then of course sanctions would follow. That we can promise Nigerians.
But so far, so good. What does the rule say? Does the rule say that the person who is occupying the seat of a FIIRO, because it's supposed to be a research institution, and one would imagine that, you know, whoever it is that is heading the board will be, you know, of good competence, so to speak. Does the law say that the person must have a PhD to occupy that seat? And if the person has not been certified to have that particular degree, should the person be sitting in that position?
Well, according to the information we have regarding the way FIIRO operates, it's not even when you become DG that you require the PhD. The PhD is required if at a certain point in the growth of the person for further promotion. And the issue or the information, well, what has been coming out is that this certificate that he presented, this thing that I've just shown you, he had been using it to get his promotion. So that's what the FIIRO information is, that you need it to be promoted in the system, whether all the way to become DG or not. So it's needed. Now, whether he should be sitting there if it is has become a controversial issue, that would be for the for other authorities to answer, because we would, now that we would do what is necessary to call attention to it, and then that would be for those who are in charge to do
How
something.
soon do you hope that this investigation will be concluded so that whatever air of controversy is hanging over this can be cleared?
I would not be too hasty in giving a timeline, but we know that this is very important, very urgent, because of what has been happening about it. It's in the public domain. So everything we can do to make the timeline short, we will do, by the grace of God.
If he's found not to have completed his course, will there be any further action on the part of the ICPC?
I just said it now, that if we find wrongdoing, because if he didn't finish his course, and if that meant that he did not earn the certificate, he had not earned it, and all along in his system, he had been parading that he had a PhD, then of course, there's an issue there. So when we get to that bridge, we'll cross it, but definitely it won't go, without a sanction.
Madam, so you were saying that this is the requirement that he must have to have been promoted all along, and that if along the line, he was said not to have had it, then, there is, wrongdoing there. However, there are those who say, well, what if he was still in the process of completing his PhD? Because from what we understand now, the university has not said this certificate. Well, they haven't said it is fake. They've just said, from what we understand from Punch newspapers, from their own investigation, they're saying he's still in the process of completing it. Now, what is not certain is if that is the same course he's still doing, is it the same university?
It's the same university, but although when he started,
yeah,
it was Université du National of Benin, something like that, but the name changed, but it's the same university. It changed before he finished to Université d'Abomey, something, so the name changed, but the same university.
Okay, so if you find, because what we understand from the investigation is that the minister in charge of that particular agency is aware and has said that he should finish his PhD, he should be allowed to finish. Is that something that's allowed to hold?
When we get to that bridge, we'll cross it. What I mean by that is, when we finish with the investigation, then the absolute facts surrounding this case would be out. And then we can then determine that, it's right for him to have done this, or not right for the minister to have done that. But if it's a requirement by established regulations in FIIRO that someone should have had a kind of a certificate, a degree, finished completely before that, as a requirement, before they can step into some position, I think that should be followed. I think that should be complied with.
Okay, so when do you say this investigation will be completed? Like
I said, I cannot give you a definite timeline, but I can assure you that we're putting all resources into expediting the process to be sure there is a short timeline.
You can't say if it's 1 month, 2 months?
I wouldn't say that. I won't do that. I won't do that. Because there's so many variables when you are doing an investigation that just be rest assured, let the Nigerian public be rest assured that we are on this and that we'll, get them the report soon.
Okay, well, certainly we'll stay on the matter and see how it eventually goes. We have to thank you for coming on Sunrise Daily. Rashida Tokodua is Director of Public Enlightenment at the ICPC.